That was our president, Joe Biden, wandering off. He's supposed to be leading our country, but he didn't know what was going on. Hi, this is Rich Cole again. Why am I going into this? We talked about Biden's cognizant problems, and why is because I've been reading that book out, Original Sin, written by Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson. Even though I thought they were part of the hiding the truth, maybe they didn't hide it, but they didn't report on it. They ignored it. The public saw it. You saw it. I saw it. You just saw that where he's wandering off. That was on the news. Many more things he did wrong. But it just wasn't reported, except by the conservative media, which isn't as big as the liberal media. So CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, all of them ignored the truth. So I wanted to talk about this because when I showed last time, I showed Megyn Kelly going after Jake Tapper with what he did wrong. But if you remember, there was another guy on the side of the screen, never said a word. That was Alex Thompson, the co-author. Well, she didn't let him get off easy. She finally got to him after slapping Jake Tapper around a bit. She gets to Alex, and watch this.
We, myself included, missed a lot of this story. And some people trust us less because of it. We bear some responsibility for faith in the media being at such lows.
With all due respect to you, Alex, but when you got up there, you actually got up there and said, we, myself included, missed a lot of this story. And we bear some responsibility for faith in the media being at such lows. But we, the media, did not miss this story, Alex. We did not miss this story. We were all over this story. We were night and day covering this story.
We knew you hated the we after he said it. We talked about it.
It was insane. It was an insane comment to make. Who are you talking about?
He meant the we in the room. He was talking about the people in the room.
It's not your turn to talk anymore. It's Alex's turn.
Thank you. I can defend myself. No, we were the people in the room. I mean, like, it's the White House Correspondents' Dinner. I was talking to the people in the room that covered Joe Biden.
All right, so here's my follow-up. Got it. Here's the follow-up.
Okay.
We, if that's who we is, did not miss the story. We in that room intentionally chose not to cover the story or dig into the story, which is a massive story that we have missed in Original Sin.
I'm glad you asked me this question because I heard you rip me to shreds the night out, the Monday after the dinner. And at first I meant
to say was congratulations and.
Yeah.
I just love the way Megyn Kelly tears these people apart, and they deserve it. I've watched them on other shows being interviewed about this book, and it's all softball questions. They just hid this stuff. The right-wing media, they call it, the conservative media, I call it, tried to report on it. And how were they treated?
Have picked Vice President Trump to be vice president, that I think she was not qualified to be president. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. Thanks to all the members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure I'm going to introduce you all the way.
Those people who said so, the people that broke that taboo, who dared to notice Biden's gaffes, his stiff gait, those who recognized the reality of old age, including Special Counsel Robert Hur, were written off or smeared, or said they were right-wing conspiracy theorists.
Yeah, that's how we were all treated. Not that I'm part of the media, but we, the public, knew what was going on. So who was running the country? Who was actually running the country? Let's answer that.
But in terms of who was running the White House, it's a small group of people that have been around. Some people within the administration called them the Politburo. That's the term we use in the book.
Give us the names of the three or four.
Mike Donnellan, Biden's longtime political liaison. Steve Ricchetti, who was sort of the legislative liaison, plus like a friend. Bruce Reed, at times, depending on his situation with the Biden people, Ron Klain. And then there are some people outside the Politburo that are closer to family, which would be obviously Jill Biden, Hunter Biden, but then Jill's main chief of staff, Anthony Bernal, and sort of his sort of like deputy in some ways, Annie Tomasini, who is often Biden's traveling chief of staff.
Mm-hmm. And Joe Biden himself also is part of this. Joe Biden is not like, it's not Weekend at Bernie's, right?
I've been beating on this. Some people say beating a dead horse, but you have to realize, in my view, this scandal is far greater than Watergate. I bet a lot of you people don't even know what Watergate's about. Watergate was when President Nixon was running for re-election, he was far ahead in the polls, but some of his people decided to find out what was going on with the Democrat campaign. So they broke into the offices of the Democratic offices, which was located in Watergate, which is a hotel, condo, office complex in Washington, still there. And they were caught breaking in and stealing information. Nixon knew nothing about it. So when they came to him and admitted it, he tried to help his buddies out and hid the truth. And he kept hiding it and hiding it and hiding it. He was finally found guilty of covering it up. And they were going to go and impeach him, and he knew he would be kicked out, so he resigned. This is worse. This is propping up a president who could not handle his day-to-day operation, was led around, hid from the public, hid from the press. He didn't even know what was going on. That was our president for at least 4 years. Well, it was 4 years. He was vice president before that. So I just think this is a horrible, horrible scandal. And as far as the book is concerned, they're reporting on things that they should have reported on already.
But this comes in the backdrop also, Chuck, of on page 85 of the book, a longtime Biden aide. He just had to win, that he could disappear for 4 years. He'd only have to show proof of life every once in a while. I found that the most shocking thing I read in the whole book. And there were a lot of candidates. Just the fact that a longtime Biden aide basically saying he could be a zombie that we just shook into life with an electric bolt every while.
This is where, look, Piers, I'm gonna defend some members of the press in this because, look, I was somebody that spoke out early questioning whether this was the case. I was interviewing Dean Phillips when other people at the organization that I was at was trying to get him unbooked from shows when he was challenging basically on the entire premise, this guy's not up to the job, right? That was the entire premise of the campaign. But let's remember, I really think that the attempt to make this a media scandal is usually by folks who are trying to promote their own media.
This shouldn't have been a book. This should have been daily news. Right, John?
Forgetting about the fact how weird it is that the news is selling you a book about news they should have told you was news a year ago for free. It's just fun.
Yeah, John makes a good point there. And as you can see, Chuck Todd, who was a major newscaster during all of those years of Biden's presidency, is still in denial. He's not blaming the press at all. He said it's not a press scandal, and it is a press scandal. I don't care what he says. Now, where are they going from here? Let's watch this.
Is there a double standard with the way we are covering it? I mean, are you out there also investigating and reporting about Trump's health in the same rigor that you did this book?
I'm so glad you asked this question because while we didn't know that much about Joe Biden's health, we know even less about Donald Trump's health. He was completely untransparent during the 2023-2024 campaign. He has not been transparent since, and there is no mechanism forcing him or any future president to being transparent about their health. He could be on anything. We really have no idea. So I think it's like a really vital question. I will say that in 2023, I wrote an entire piece about how Donald Trump had not been transparent about any of his health. And, the last month or two, I admittedly have been busy with this book, so I have not returned to the subject. But I think it's completely fair. Donald Trump was older on his inauguration day than Joe Biden was on his. Donald Trump's health is completely fair game, and there should be incredibly investigative reporting onto how it's affecting his job as president.
Yeah, no, they're saying that Trump isn't transparent enough when it comes to his health. They're going to go after him. They're going to do now with Trump what they refused to do with Biden. Trump is running all over the world, all over the places. He's talking to the press every single day. He talks. Does he make a mistake once in a while? If you talk that much, you're going to make a mistake. He is the most transparent president ever. Doesn't seem to be exhausted. Plays golf. I know you don't like that. But he is active. He is very active. Biden, on the other hand, stumbled upstairs, froze when he tried to speak, tried to call in a congresswoman who had been dead for 2 months. That's the guy who could hardly walk, by the way. He wandered all around. But they didn't cover him on that. No. And they chastised any of the conservative press who happened to bring it up. So you could tell I'm a bit irritated by all of this. Well, that's it for now. Till next time, come back. I don't know when that's be, but it won't be long. Goodbye.